Cal wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stood at the edge of the auction yard on the dusty moon of Pharaon 6. His boots were covered in red dirt, and the heat from the nearby twin suns made the air shimmer. Around him, rusty machines, old freighters, broken droids, and piles of scrap metal stretched out like a field of forgotten dreams. He wasn't rich. In fact, Cal barely had enough credits to buy fuel, but he needed spare parts for his little workshop back at the station. Maybe a broken drone or a power cell, anything he could fix and sell. The auctioneer, a loud alien with 6 arms and a cracked visor, shouted as each item was shown. Most of the crowd, traders, junkers, and mechanics, were only half interested. Then something unusual was wheeled in on a massive hover platform, a starship. It was old, clearly battle-worn. The hull had scorch marks. One wing was missing panels, and the engines looked like they hadn't been touched in decades. But despite its broken state, the ship had a strange beauty. Sleek lines, elegant curves, and a dark silver shine under the dust. It didn't look like any model Cal had ever seen. "This one's a mystery. Found drifting near the Vega Drift. No ID, no response, no crew," the auctioneer shouted. "Sold as is. Starting bid 500 credits. The crowd laughed. Most turned away. Cal blinked. He could see beyond the damage. The core drive housing looked intact. Maybe he could salvage it. 500, Cal said quietly, raising his hand. No one else bid. "Sold to the scrapper in the back," the auctioneer barked. Just like that, Cal had bought a starship. An hour later, the ship was parked outside, his hangar on the station. The nameplate was missing, but a strange symbol was burned into the hull, curved lines in a circle, like a star and wings. The airlock hissed as Cal forced it open. A dusty hallway greeted him, filled with flickering lights and stale air. The ship smelled like metal and time. "Let's see what secrets you've got," he whispered. Inside, the ship was in better shape than he expected. The cockpit was dark but had a clean design, with controls that pulsed gently. As he moved deeper into the ship, he passed through empty rooms, storage bays, crew quarters, and a strange chamber with a humming floor. The energy systems were partially active, but strange readings blinked across the panels. Then Cal found a sealed door near the rear. It didn't open with normal commands. It had no manual release. But his curiosity pushed him forward. He used a plasma cutter and carefully broke the lock. The door slid open with a long hiss. Inside was a circular room, cooler than the rest of the ship. And in the center of it, surrounded by soft lights and a humming control unit, stood a large cryopod. His heart skipped a beat. The pod was frosted over, but he could see the figure inside. It was a woman. She had smooth, pale blue-purple skin and long silver hair that floated slightly inside the fluid. Her ears were pointed slightly upward, like an elf from an old Earth story. She wore a strange, soft-looking suit with gentle patterns that glowed faintly. She looked peaceful, like she was simply sleeping. Cal stared, speechless. "Who are you?" he whispered. The pod lights began to blink, red. He jumped back. The panel displayed symbols he couldn't understand, but the meaning was clear. The stasis was ending. She was waking up. Cal didn't know what to do. He grabbed a blanket and a med kit just in case. The cryopod made a soft hum, and warm mist escaped from the seams. The fluid drained. Slowly, the cover lifted. Her eyes opened. They were bright violet. She gasped for air, sat up quickly, and then backed away against the side of the pod. Her breathing was fast, her eyes wild. She looked at Cal, and her body tensed. "It's okay," Cal said, raising his hands. "You're safe. I found you on this ship." She spoke, but the words were strange, musical, and fast. He didn't understand a single one. Cal reached into his pocket and pulled out a universal translator, old but functional. He held it up and activated it. A small light blinked. She repeated her words, this time slowly. "Who are you? What year is it?" Her voice was soft and shaky. She touched her head, confused. "My name's Cal. I bought this ship at an auction, he said carefully. You were frozen in that pod. I just opened it. She looked around, clearly still dizzy. This is not my ship. Where is Commander Errol? She asked. I don't know anyone by that name, Cal replied. The ship was abandoned. It had no ID. I'm guessing it's been floating for a long time. The woman looked down at her hands, then back at him. I am Liari, she said finally. Of the Tyrellans Starborn. What has happened? Cal took a slow breath. I think you've been asleep for a very long time. Liari sat quietly in the small med bay of the ship, wrapped in a soft gray blanket. Her long silver hair was still damp from the cryo-fluid, and her purple eyes studied everything around her like it was completely new. Cal offered her a cup of warm broth, something simple from his supplies. She hesitated but took it. Her fingers were graceful. Careful. She sipped slowly. What's the last thing you remember? Cal asked, sitting across from her on a metal crate. Liari looked down, her brow slightly furrowed. We were in orbit around a dying moon. Our ship, the Velria, had been damaged in a surprise attack. Commander Aral ordered me into the stasis pod. He said it was the only way to protect what I carried. She placed her hand over her chest where a small glowing symbol shimmered just under her suit fabric. I was to be awakened only when we reached safety, she said, voice soft. But now, I see I did not. Cal nodded. The ship I bought wasn't marked. It had no crew. You were the only one on board, and you were hidden. I didn't even know you were there until I found the sealed room. She studied him for a moment, then spoke gently. You are human? Yeah. Cal Renner. I'm just a mechanic. I fix things, sell scrap. I didn't mean to wake you up. I didn't even know what I was buying. Liari tilted her head, eyes narrowing, in curiosity. You seem honest. I try to be, he replied with a small smile. She looked away, staring at the dark corner of the med bay. Then I owe you thanks, Cal Renner, for not abandoning me, for not selling me. You're not for sale, he said immediately. You're a person, not a part. That made her look at him again, eyes softening. She placed the empty cup beside her and stood, a little shaky but graceful. Her legs were still weak from the long sleep. I must understand how much time has passed, she said. May I access your star map? Sure, Cal replied. He led her to the cockpit. The controls came to life as he powered up the systems. Liari moved to the navigation console, her fingers dancing over the interface. The translation device helped her understand the human layout, though she seemed to already know a lot about ship tech. She stared at the star chart as it unfolded, a 3D map of the current sector. Her face went pale. These coordinates, this is not the same map I remember. Some of the stars are missing, others are renamed. She turned to him slowly. Cal, how long has it been since the Battle of Kevrin's Edge? Cal blinked. I've never heard of that. Liari sat down, in the co-pilot seat, looking stunned. That battle was the final stand of the Tyrellan people. We were losing, but we had hope. If no one remembers it, then too much time has passed. Cal quietly brought up the ship's records. The crash beacon was over 200 years old. Liari, I think you were asleep for more than 2 centuries, he said. She didn't speak. She only stared out the front viewport, her eyes distant. The silence was heavy. Then, the ship beeped. Cal turned to the alert. Something in the communication logs had activated. A hidden message buried in the system memory just triggered when Liari used the nav console. Warning, the voice said. Royal DNA detected, Guardian beacon online. Cal's eyes widened. What is that? Liari stood slowly. It is my responsibility. My people feared their secrets would be lost, so they encoded them into a living mind. Mine. I was trained for this role. but I did not know the ship's systems would broadcast my presence. A faint, blinking red light appeared on the console. The beacon had sent a signal into space, wideband automated. Cal leaned forward. That means someone out there just got your location. Layari nodded, her expression serious. Not all who receive that signal will be friendly. Suddenly, the ship's sensors flickered again. An unknown vessel appeared on the edge of the system, distant but closing in. Fast. Cal muttered. That's no random trader. That's a hunter. Layari moved quickly. Then we must leave. This ship still has a working engine, does it not? Barely, Cal said. It's old and slow. We might make a jump if we reroute power from non-essential systems. Then, do it, she said, her voice calm but firm. Cal jumped into action. He locked down the outer hull, rerouted power, and inputted emergency jump coordinates, somewhere empty, far from regular trade routes. As the ship vibrated and the jump drive prepared, Layari sat beside him and placed her hand on the control panel. This ship is not only metal and circuits, she said. It remembers its purpose. Suddenly the controls lit up in soft blue light. Deeper systems responded to her touch. It was as if the ship recognized her. What did you do? Cal asked. I gave it permission to protect us, she said. The jump drive surged to life faster than expected. The stars stretched outside the viewport, and in a blink they were gone, vanished into the void. Safe for now. The stars outside the window returned to normal. Cal's ship had made the jump, barely holding together. Lights flickered above them, and the engine hummed with an uneven rhythm. Inside the cockpit, the silence after the jump was loud and heavy. Cal leaned back in his seat, breathing hard. We made it, but not by much. Layari nodded beside him. Her long silver hair had fallen over her shoulder, and her eyes were focused on the main screen. That ship, the one that chased us, it didn't belong to any government. It looked like a bounty ship. You think someone sent it for you? Cal asked. She was quiet for a moment, then answered, Yes. When I touched the ship's core, it confirmed my identity. It also activated the Guardian beacon. That signal travels far and fast. There are people out there who would want me captured, or worse. But why? What do they want from you? Cal asked. Layari looked at him with calm seriousness. My memories are not complete. But I know this. Before I entered the stasis pod, I was given something important. A living code inside my mind. Knowledge my people didn't want to lose. If I am found, they will try to extract it. Forcefully. Cal frowned. Then we can't let them find you. She turned to him, surprised. You say we. You didn't ask for this. Cal smiled faintly. No, I didn't. I just wanted a few spare parts, but now you're here, and I don't leave people behind. That's not how I was raised. A small, grateful smile formed on her lips. Thank you, Cal. The next few days were tense. Cal and Layari worked together to repair parts of the ship. The jump drive needed recalibration. Shields were weak. They found an old asteroid field nearby to hide in while they made repairs. It was dark and quiet, perfect for staying hidden. Cal was surprised at how skilled Layari was with ship systems. Even after 2 centuries in sleep, she understood technology well. She showed him how to connect forgotten panels, unlock deeper systems, and even improve energy flow. Her mind was sharp, her hands precise. You really know your stuff, Callie said as she fixed the oxygen regulator. I trained for years, she replied, tightening a bolt. In my time, I was a navigator and systems engineer. I was supposed to guide the royal fleet across the stars. Cal paused. You mean, like royalty? Layari hesitated. I was not royal by blood, but I was trusted. I carried part of our last hope. My people believed knowledge should not die, even if we did. Cal looked at her with new respect. That's heavy, all that, in your head. She smiled gently. It is not easy, but I am glad you were the one to find me. There, Time together became more natural. They shared meals, simple food packs Cal had stored in the ship. Liari was curious about everything: human food, music, even old Earth stories. At night, they sat in the ship's small observation room. Stars filled the glass walls like glowing dust. Liari stared out often, deep in thought. "One star in that corner used to be ours," she said one evening, "but it's not even on your maps anymore." "Your home?" Cal asked. "Yes," she whispered. It was called WomanTHE, a place of floating cities, crystal towers, and oceans that reflected the sky. Now, they're probably gone. Cal sat beside her quietly. He couldn't imagine what it felt like, to wake up and find your whole world gone. "You're not alone anymore," he said after a while. She turned to look at him. "That means more than you know." But peace didn't last. One morning, the ship's early alert system beeped. Cal rushed to the cockpit. Liari followed quickly. Another ship had entered the system, smaller this time but fast, sleek and silver. No clear markings. "Is it another bounty hunter?" Cal asked. Liari scanned the signals. "Yes, it's tracking us. They must have picked up the last signal trace." "Then we run," Cal said, trying to boost the ship's thrusters. The engine sputtered. The power cells weren't fully charged. "Yet we can't jump," Liari said. "But we can outsmart them." Cal gave her a look. "What do you have in mind?" She moved fast, going to the rear cargo bay. "There's an old decoy system here, a fake energy pulse emitter. We launch it in one direction while we go another." Cal grinned. "Smart." They set up the decoy and launched it into a nearby tunnel in the asteroid field. Meanwhile, they took a narrow path between two spinning rocks and powered down the ship completely. The other vessel followed the decoy. A few tense minutes passed. Then the unknown ship vanished into the distance. Chasing the wrong trail, Cal let out a long breath. That was too close. Liari nodded. "They won't stop. They think I'm a prize, but I'm not giving myself up. Not now." He looked at her, admiring her strength. "Good, because I'm not letting you go either." They both smiled, sitting in the darkened cockpit, surrounded by stars and silence. The ship drifted quietly in a hidden corner of the asteroid field. Cal and Liari had shut down most of the systems to save energy. Outside, stars glimmered faintly against the black void. Inside, the small ship was warm and still. Cal leaned back against a console and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Repairs had taken longer than he expected. The jump drive was patched up, but the ship still had many weak points. Liari sat across from him on a crate, watching him work. "You're very good at this," she said softly. "You make old things live again." Cal smiled. "I like fixing things. It's satisfying." Liari nodded slowly. "It's a good quality." They sat in silence for a moment. Cal broke the quiet. "Liari, what will happen if they catch you?" She looked at him with steady eyes. "I don't know. My people wanted me to survive to protect knowledge, but I fear many want that knowledge for power. It could be dangerous." Cal's jaw tightened. "Then we have to be ready, no matter what." Liari gave a small smile. "You speak like a soldier." Cal chuckled. "I'm no soldier, but I learned to stand my ground." Over the next few days, their bond grew stronger. They shared stories from their very different worlds. Liari told Cal about the Torellan Starborn, a proud people who once ruled a small part of the galaxy. Their cities floated in the sky, and their ships moved with grace and light. "We were explorers, scientists and warriors," she said. "But war came, and we lost much. I was chosen to carry our last hope, the Guardian Code, a living memory in my mind." Cal listened, fascinated. "You've been through so much," she smiled softly. "And now I have you." Cal blushed but looked away quickly. He wasn't used to feelings like this. One evening in the ship's observation room, Cal played a soft tune from an old music player. Liari listened, eyes closed, the notes floating around them like a gentle breeze. "This is beautiful," she whispered. Cal smiled. "It's called Earth music. I want to share more with you. Liari opened her eyes, looking at him with warmth. I would like that. Their peaceful moments were rare, but precious. Suddenly, the ship's alarm shattered. The calm. Cal jumped up. What now? Liari ran to the sensors. Incoming vessel, she said quickly, faster than before. Cal frowned. They're getting bolder. We need to move. He checked the ship's status. The engine could make a jump now, but the problem was the destination. We can't jump back to busy space, Cal said. They'll be waiting. Liari nodded. Then we go somewhere no one will think to follow. Cal smiled. A hidden system. I know a place. They set coordinates for the Rena Nebula, a dense cloud of gas and dust where sensors had trouble seeing ships. It was dangerous to fly through, but perfect for hiding. As the ship entered the swirling colors of the nebula, the outside view became a blur of pinks and blues. The ship's shields flickered, taking small hits from space debris. Cal gripped the controls tightly. Hold on. Liari stood beside him, steady and calm. The journey was rough. The ship shook, alarms beeped, and the navigation computer struggled to keep a safe course. After tense minutes, they came out on the other side, quiet and safe. Cal exhaled deeply. We made it. Liari smiled. You are a good pilot, Cal Renner, he laughed. I'm just lucky. Inside the ship, they sat down again. The tension faded, replaced by a comfortable silence. Cal looked at Liari. I want to ask you something. She looked up, curious. Why did you choose to stay with me? After all this time asleep, you could reach out to others of your people? Liari's eyes softened. Because you showed me kindness. You didn't see me as a prize or a problem. You helped me when I was lost. Cal felt warmth in his chest. I don't want to be alone either, she continued. The galaxy is a big place, and trust is rare, but with you I feel safe. Cal smiled shyly. I feel the same. They sat close, the quiet hum of the ship around them. Suddenly, a sharp knock sounded on the ship's hull. Cal and Liari looked at each other, alarmed. Who could that be? Cal whispered. Liari moved to the door, scanning. It's not a ship, she said. Something smaller. Cal opened the airlock carefully. Outside floated a small drone. It beeped and scanned the ship. Cal frowned. A spy drone? Liari nodded. They're searching for us. Cal grabbed a tool and disabled the drone. It powered down with a final beep. Liari looked worried. They are close. Cal stood tall. Then we fight. She smiled. Not with weapons, with our minds and skill. Cal raised an eyebrow. Liari explained. We must outsmart them, use the ship, the nebula, and their own fears. Cal nodded. Let's do it. Together, they planned their next move. They would hide the ship deeper in the nebula and send out false signals to confuse their enemies. Cal worked on the communication systems, creating decoys. Liari accessed the ship's ancient tech, unlocking more hidden features. The ship responded to her touch, lights and systems activating in ways Cal didn't understand. It was as if the ship had a soul, and it trusted Liari. That night, as they rested, Cal looked at Liari. She was asleep, peaceful for the first time since waking. He thought about the strange journey that had brought them here, from a simple auction to a chase across the stars. And now, a bond that neither expected. Cal whispered softly, You're not alone anymore. And in the silence of space, that was enough. The quiet inside the ship was broken by a sudden warning beep. Cal jolted awake. The sensor panel blinked red. Another ship, he muttered, rubbing his eyes. This one's bigger and faster. Liari appeared at his side, alert and ready. They have found us again. This time they will not hesitate. Cal's fingers flew over the controls, powering up the ship's systems. The hull groaned slightly as the old engines warmed up. They're coming to take you, Cal said, his voice low but firm. But I won't let that happen. Liari nodded. Neither will I. Outside the viewport, a massive black ship emerged from the swirling clouds of the nebula. Its design was sharp and aggressive, built for hunting. Cal swallowed hard. We're outgunned. Liari placed a hand on the control panel, closing her eyes for a moment. The ship seemed to respond to her touch, lights brightening as if waking from a deep sleep. The Velria remembers, she said softly. It will fight for us. Cal smiled grimly. Then let's show them what we've got. The chase began. Cal steered the ship through the thick nebula gas, twisting and turning in the tight spaces between glowing rocks. The big ship followed, firing pulses of energy that hit the shields but couldn't break through. Liari accessed the ship's old weapon systems, small but powerful. Hold on, she said, activating the pulse cannons. Beams of blue light shot from the ship, hitting the pursuer's hull. The enemy ship rocked, but it kept coming. Cal pushed the engines to their limit, weaving faster and faster. Suddenly, Liari smiled. Have an idea. She guided Cal to a narrow canyon inside the nebula. The walls were close and the passage was tight. Follow me, she said. Cal didn't hesitate. The ship ducked and turned sharply, barely missing the glowing rocks. The pursuer tried to follow but was too large to fit in the narrow canyon. Cal could see the enemy struggling. We have them trapped, Liari said. Cal powered down the ship's engines and went silent. The enemy ship stayed at the entrance, scanning and firing shots that bounced harmlessly off the rock walls. We wait, Liari whispered. Minutes passed. Then, Cal's ship sent out a fake distress signal, the same signal the pursuers had been hunting. The enemy ship hesitated, then turned and flew away, chasing the false signal. Cal and Liari exhaled deeply. We did it, Cal said. Liari smiled. Together. After the danger passed, they set course for a quiet star system far from known space. Cal sat beside Liari in the observation room. I want to ask you something, he said. She looked at him, curious. Why did you choose to stay with me? After all you've lost, why stay on this ship with a stranger? Liari's eyes softened. Because you saved me when no one else would. You didn't treat me like a prize or a mystery. You saw me as a person. Cal smiled. I don't know much, but I believe everyone deserves kindness. She reached out and took his hand gently. I want to stay, she said. Not because I have to, but because I want to explore this new galaxy. With you. Cal squeezed her hand. Then we'll face whatever comes, together. The ship was repaired and ready. Cal and Liari stood on the bridge looking out at the endless stars. Cal tapped the console. Where to next? Liari smiled brightly. Wherever the stars take us. The Velria hummed to life, engines glowing softly. Cal grinned. Let's go make our own story. As the ship leapt into the stars, two unlikely friends began a new journey, a human and an alien, bound by trust, hope, and courage. The galaxy was vast, but together, they were ready.